Hello everyone, we're back today, and as promised, what I'm going to do is I'm going to identify the 5 core muscle groups in the body, briefly explain why they're important, and then give you 3 exercises that will cover all 5 of those muscle groups. So some simple stuff for you to do again at home as we sit and we wait. So with regards to the 5 core muscle groups, we start off with the transverse abdominis. Essentially that is our anterior core, important muscle because it helps stabilize the spine. From there we have the glutes and the hamstrings. They're neighbors to each other and important because that's essentially the engine of the body. This is your power muscle groups. These are the muscle groups that will allow you to jump high and run fast. Muscle groups 4 and 5 are the low back. The low back is important because that's a muscle group that we want to protect, often overworked and overstressed. And number 5 is the lats, and those are the big sweeping muscles of the back, and they're important because the lat muscles attach our arm to our hip, and they are a very strong, resilient muscle group. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to take you through a series of 3 exercises with minimal equipment that you can do at home that will cover all 5 of these muscle groups. So here we go. Hello everyone. So first exercise we're going to demonstrate today is the cross bench glute hamstring bridge. If you have a bench or something similar in height to this, fantastic. If not, this exercise actually can be done from the floor as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the setup in a couple repetitions, and we'll go from there. So in terms of the glute bridge exercise, this is going to cover 2 of the 5 muscle groups, so it's a good bang for your buck type of exercise. What we're going to do is you're going to lay across the bench, feel the edge of the bench right underneath the shoulder blades. That's generally a good position for this exercise. Your feet are going to be hip width apart, toes pointed straight ahead, with your heels just under your knees. What we're going to do from here is just cross your arms to essentially give them a home while you're doing this exercise. Make sure that you maintain neutral chin position. So a lot of what we see is sometimes where we tuck the chin into our chest, which is not ideal. From here, what we want to do is we're going to start at the top. So you're going to deliver the hips to the ceiling. And when you start in this position right away, you should feel the hamstrings and the glutes engage. In terms of the weight, feel your weight actually a little bit closer to the heel than the ball of the foot or the toe. So what we're going to do in this position here is you're going to cross the arms, you're going to maintain good head position. Let your butt make its way to the ground. So essentially you're creating what's called a hip hinge. From here, again, you're going to deliver the hips to the ceiling. You're going to feel those hamstrings and those glutes engage. And if you do that and you feel very little stress on the low back, then essentially you're doing the movement as it's intended. So I'll do a couple repetitions here. Big squeeze of the glute and the hamstrings at the top. Control the movement coming down, and then return the hips to the ceiling again. For those that are looking for a progression to this exercise and have one of these TheraBands or strength bands at home, ideally what you can do is you can take the TheraBand now and you can wrap it around the legs. Go just below the knees, and you're going to do the exact same movement. So nothing changes other than now is we're going to be able to get actually a little bit more glute engagement as long as we push the knees away from each other. So exact same movement, cross the arms, head position. Let the butt make its way to the floor, deliver the hips to the ceiling, and maintain the tension on that band. And this is a fantastic exercise. The low seated row. So this is going to be the exercise that's now going to engage the lats. So the lats being the muscles that essentially attach our arm to our hip. It's our pulling muscles. So if you're doing seated rows, pull-ups, front pull-downs, those are all exercises that will engage the lats. If you're at home, what you will be required to have is some kind of strength band or tubing, something similar to this to do the exercise. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you through a quick demonstration and then show you some repetitions. So first things first, what we want to do is we're going to find a chair or a bench, anything that you have at home, and you're going to sit nice and tall with good posture. Good head position, keep the shoulders, blades back and down. We're going to reach out, we're going to grab the strength band with the palms facing each other, okay? We're going to find a target with our eyes because that's always important. And from this position here, what I want you to do is you're going to pull the band towards you, okay? Keeping the elbows nice and low, which is going to engage the lats. Big squeeze at the end, and then slowly control the movement and release. There's going to be no movement through the torso. Again, you're going to keep the elbows nice and low. And if you do this, you are going to feel those lats start to work after a certain amount of reps. Exercise number 3 is called the McGill Sit Up. This one is one of my favorites. This is an anterior core, so that traditional core muscle group that we often hear about. It's going to target that muscle, and then at the same time too, this is the type of exercise that will also indirectly protect and strengthen the low back. A little bit more involved in terms of setup, so I'll do my best to keep it simple. And kind of one precaution I would say to everyone is if you experience any kind of low back pain during this movement, I would suggest just to cut it off, and I will show you a small regression to how you can use this exercise so that it hopefully creates no pain if you are experiencing pain. In terms of setup, what we're going to do right now is you're going to lay back on the floor. What we want to do from this position here is you're going to keep one leg bent like you see here, and we're going to extend the other leg right out in front of us. You're going to take your hands now and you're actually going to slide them under your low back. From this position here, this is your setup. So what we're going to do first is we're going to engage the core. So what I want you to do is I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose. You're going to breathe out through your mouth. And as you breathe out through your mouth, what I want you to do is I want you to press your low back into your hands. So what you're going to feel some core bracing. So we're going to take a deep breath in, breathe out, and then press your low back into your hands. And that's just a simple core bracing exercise. So that is an exercise that everyone can do, and you'll be able to do it pain-free. The progression to this exercise now, so if you want to take this one step further, is you're going to take the air in through the nose, breathe out through the mouth. As you breathe out, I want you to press your low back into your hands, create that pressure. And then from there, I want you to separate your shoulder blades from the floor. And you're going to feel all that tension. Through the nose, out the mouth, low back pressure. Separate the shoulder blades from the floor.